discussing the existence of God with an out-and-out atheist. Starts off very correctly, discussion, and as the hours go by, it gets more and more heated, and eventually the Pope turns to the man and he said, "The mom! Get the mom! And you, come here. You are like a man who is totally blindfolded in a dark room looking for a black cat that is not there." The fellow said, "With all respect, Your Holiness, I think there's great similarity between us both." He said, "What do you mean, similarity?" He said, "Well, as far as I'm concerned, you are like a man who is blindfolded in a totally dark room looking for a black cat that isn't there. The only difference is that you found it."
I'm not religious. I don't know if there's a God. That's all I can say, honestly, is I don't know. Some people think that they know that there isn't. That's a weird thing to think you can know. Yeah, there's no God. Are you sure? Yeah, no, there's no God. How do you know? Because I didn't see him. How do you... There's a vast universe. You can see for about 100 yards when there's not a building in the way. How could you possibly... Did you look everywhere? Did you look in the downstairs bathroom? Where have you looked so far? No, I didn't see him yet. I haven't seen 12 Years a Slave yet. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I'm waiting until it comes on cable. I think if there is a God, I don't know if it's the one in the Bible, because that's a weird story. He's our Father, and we're his children. That's it. Our Father who art in heaven. Where's our mother? What happened to our mom? What did he do to our mom? Something happened. Somewhere in heaven there's a porch with a dead lady under it, and I want this story. Somebody's got to check the trunk of God's car for bleach and rope and fibers. Well, how can we not have a mother? At least maybe God's divorced. Maybe he has an ex-wife. God's a single dad and he's raising us alone and we're praying like, and he's like, "I'm trying, it's just me up here."
But I said the character...
Do you feel that the new comedy, there's so much atheists? I feel that's kind of like the new hack comedy to me.
It's always been that way. I'm not a proponent. I mean, I've studied religion in college and I take my kids, that's where I got into physics. The chances of this thing happening like by accident, carbon-based life forms, at heavy stars, deuterium, and you get into the quantum physics of it, it's very peculiar that we're here at all.
Yeah.
Church was never, I got kicked out of more churches because of stupid crap I'd say. Like even the bishop said, "We just don't want you around here anymore." I mean, literally.
Well, don't you find sometimes the problems with atheism is that really their problems are with churches, not with God?
Well, listen.
They go, "There's no God because a priest a kid." It doesn't make any sense.
I used to be quite religious, and I'm fascinated by lots of religious groups. There's some brilliant ones. There's the people that wear the armbands, WWJD. Stands for What Would Jesus Do? And Christians wear them to remind them to be more like Christ in everyday life. They sort of see that and what would Jesus do in this situation? Yeah. For the most part, they're very effective. They make people so annoying, you want to nail them to a cross.
I became an atheist when I was 15 years old. I remember there was an exact moment. I was digging a hole with a stick. Now, if you've just recently become an atheist, try to be cool about it, right? Because especially in this country, people use atheism almost like its own religion, right? Because when you become an atheist, you're very angry because you've been fed so many lies that you become angry, right? So try to be what I call a good atheist. I used to be a bad atheist, right? Like, for example, I didn't go to a friend's wedding once because it was in a church because I wouldn't set foot in a church, right? And then, like, I couldn't go to parties because I always end up in a corner with a Christian going, "You're a fucking idiot," right? And that's no way to live your life, you know? So, you know what? You got to live and let live in this world. Have the magic man. Don't have the magic man. I don't give a fuck. And since I have this new sunny disposition, my life's really turned around. I've got more friends. I tolerate others. I'm now godfather to 3 children, and that's retarded. Because these people know me. And they still fucking ask. They still come up and go, "Jim, will you be the child's godfather?" And I'm like, yes. And then I stand there in church with the priest and the parents, and the priest is holding the baby, and the priest turns to me and goes, Jim, will you spiritually guide this child throughout its life? Sure. Because I have no problems lying in church. What difference does it make? Now, there are two reasons why babies are christened, right? There's the real reason, which is the church are trying to recruit people who can't talk. Then there's the second reason, the Bible's reason, God's reason. This is why God wants you to christen your child. Because if you don't christen your child and it dies in infancy, it doesn't get into heaven. Aww. So if you are religious, your God sounds like a super guy. But if he lets one dead baby into heaven, then he has to let all the dead babies into heaven. And before you know it, heaven's just filled with fucking dead babies. Won't be able to move for dead babies. And let's not act like these babies didn't know what they did. Now, it's not lost on me that when I tell a joke like that in front of this many people, then in this room, there's a good chance that there's a couple who lost their child in infancy. And I'm a comedian, I'm meant to make you laugh. And I've just reminded you of the most horrible thing that ever happened to you. And for that, I am sorry. But if you weren't smart enough to get a pedophile in a dress to put a small amount of water on the child's forehead, what the fuck did you think was going to happen, right? As far as I'm concerned, you're bad parents. And that's why God took your child away from you. Because I think we all know that God makes no mistakes. So.
Hey, Bill, how do I tell my wife I'm an atheist? Bill, I have the greatest wife in the world, and we have 2 wonderful daughters. This is starting off like a horror movie. You know what I mean? How it's always like nice, there's always like leaves falling in a gazebo, but there's just that hint of creepy music. Remember how they used to do that back in the 80s when they couldn't just depend on special effects? They actually had to build suspense. That's how this is. Look at this guy. He has the greatest wife in the world, everybody. And he has 2 wonderful daughters. There's a problem, though. Dun, dun, dun. She is a devout Christian. All right, dude, why are you acting like you just met her? You fucking married her. And he goes, and I finally decided that I don't believe in any of it. Oh, that's why. Oh, well, dude, welcome to enlightenment. You know, you can't throw it all out the window. But, you know, the 7 deadly sins, the 10 commandments, all that shit makes sense. But all that other stuff, you know, burning bush, talking to a bat that's walking on a fucking lake. I mean, come on. I mean, are we adults here or what? You know? You have to throw your first baby over a cliff to show that you love me. Hey, I was just fucking with you. You passed the test. What is that? Booming voice coming from the clouds. You know? I just don't buy it. Something's coming back, like, for the love of God, what is it waiting for? You know what I mean? Is Jesus like Thurman Thomas trying to find his fucking helmet during the Super Bowl? Was that what's going on here? That's 2 Thurman Thomas references 2 weeks in a row. You find another fucking podcast that does it 3 weeks in a row, and goddamn it, you should stop listening to this one. Anyways, he says, I finally decided that I don't believe in any of it. I thought about telling her the old joke, we're both atheists, I just believe in one less God than you do. But she wouldn't find that funny at all. She is okay. She is okay for now going to church without me because I work nights. But I have a feeling that when the kids get a little older, that I will have to become more involved. Should I tell her now or just let it be and hope that it never comes up? Well, I have to tell you, sir, if you do in fact have the greatest wife in the world, she'll accept you for who you are. And if you're an atheist and you don't believe in the stuff that she believes in, then, you know, there you go. This is what I would do. Let her